Hey everybody, this is D Hunter, bringing our action figure review. Today, we're going to look at the third-party Joyman Toys 1/12 scale Batman Cold War Terminator. This is Batman from the Elseworlds comic, Red Sun, basically a Russian Batman. DC Direct made one a long time ago, and this is a 1/12 scale cloth soft goods third-party unauthorized unlicensed version. That's why it's called the Terminator. They can't call it Batman, but it's pretty obvious what it is. Let's take a look at the packaging. As you can see at the front, we have Batman with a Russian hat. Does have the bat symbol on his chest, front and center, but nothing on there will say DC or Batman. One side of the package, pretty blank, just snow. Other side, same thing. At the back, we have Superman's Red Sun logo. Bottom, no barcode. So no further ado, let's open it up. Alright. Now that this figure out of the package, here he is with all his accessories laid out. We have 6 alternate hands, totaling 8 interchangeable hands, 2 heads, a little pickaxe, and then a pistol. Before we take a look at all that, let's talk about and check out the figure. So this is Batman from the Superman Elseworlds story, Superman Red Sun. It's basically a Russian Superman with a Russian Batman fighting against him. Superman is sort of a totalitarian dictatorship and doesn't even realize it. He thinks he's doing the right thing by stopping wars and ruling with Russian values. And Batman is basically leading the resistance. This is a third-party, unauthorized, unlicensed, Mezco-style cloth soft goods 1/12 scale figure. And it looks pretty cool. A little bit on the small side of things, so let's take a look. Starting with his face here, looks good. We have a more or less traditional Batman cowl with a Russian hat on top. Very interesting looking. A lot of cool details. Got a little sort of clip dangling off there. Go further down. Cloth soft goods outfit. Batman symbol on the chest. Looks like maybe some extra ammunition here. He's got a utility belt. He's got some extra pouches, clips, holster for his gun. See some knee pads here. Looks like double jointed elbows, double jointed knees. You can hear how tight they are inside of there. And his cape is giant. It's phenomenal. It feels like it has a wire on either side. Overall, it's a pretty nice looking Russian Batman. And a closer look at his face and head sculpt. I think the face looks pretty good. You can see good detail in the mouth. Looks fairly serious. White eyes. The cowl looks good, at least what you can see from this point of view. And then, of course, he has that Russian hat. Some interesting details on the side below the ears. And then here's the figure, broken down as far as he can go, with all of his removable parts detached. Now check out his accessories. Starting off with his hands. He has a total of 8 hands, 4 left hands, and 4 right hands. Here he is, with his first pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands. And then, his second pair of hands. This is a pair of gripping hands with trigger fingers. Here's his third pair of hands. These hands are semi-open. Look like they could be some grabbing or choking hands. And here's his fourth pair of hands. These hands have batarangs permanently attached. Kind of Dark Knight Returns style, with 3 into each hand. Some things I want to say about his hands. I don't know if it's something I'm doing wrong, but it's having a really hard time getting the pegs from his wrists to go completely into the hands. They're very loose. They come off very easily. Maybe I'm just not getting in there all the way, but I pushed and pushed and pushed. And then, for these batarang hands, they look kind of like Dark Knight Trilogy style batarangs, and one of them came loose already. Come on, buddy. And it's not a completely finished batarang, so if you wanted to pull them all out and have extra batarangs, that is not going to work. Now let's look at his heads. He has 2 of them, one with a normal expression, and one with a screaming, angry expression. Here he is, with his first head. This one has the more traditional, normal expression. And here's his alternate head. This one has the screaming expression. Here's his gun. It's an old school pistol. I believe it's a Mosser C96 broom handle. They used this during World War II era. It's got the brown handle, large area for the clip, and then a thin barrel. Paint job is kind of good. It has a little bit of a wash to it. It's not pure black. It has some silver weathering going on. Here's Batman holding that pistol. And here he is, holstering that pistol. And his last accessory, this looks to be some sort of little ice pick. Of course, kind of has the bat symbol or Batman type stuff at the top. It's done in all black, has that similar sort of wash to it. And then a little bit of sculpting detail on the handle. Here's Batman holding that ice pick. Now to talk about his cape, which is fantastic. So on the inside, it's sort of more plain material. On the outside, a little more sort of leathery, at least looking. It's got a bendy wire on the other side. You can see, you can sort of pose it as it's sort of gliding in the wind. And the cape itself is huge. It outstretches this far. Fantastic gliding cape. Looks great. Now that we've taken a pretty good look at the figure and his accessories, let's check out his height. From bottom to the top of his head, standing about 6.5 inches tall, which can translate to 16.5 centimeters. And if you go to the top of the ears, about 6.6 inches tall. And for his articulation, and I'm sure either his head or hands are going to pop off during this. I'm having a really hard time getting to stand properly. So, starting with his head here, of course, you're going to rotate side to side. He can look up and down about that far, can tilt his head from one side to the other. Now, if you take the head off, you can also take this sort of neck piece off, and you can even remove the cape after that. So, sort of holding that down while I was rotating and turning the head. The head stays on considerably better than the hands, but I'm just really having trouble getting the hands to go all the way into the pegs. Arms go out about this far. Now, they could go definitely further, but the cloth is going to obstruct that. Can really barely go up and down, just the cloth soft goods really holding him back. He does have butterfly joint there. You can see the shoulder going forward and back. Bicep cut below that. Double jointed elbows. His wrist can rotate, and it's going to be hinged, but it just wants to pop right off. It's really annoying, and I'm not sure if I push his fins as far back as possible, that just it gives more access to the peg, but it's just barely on there. Really annoying feature. Ball joint the torso, rotate around, forward and back. Another one is waist, but it's all so tight, not getting a very big range of motion there. Pretty stiff, even with two joints there. Legs, they go out about this far. Once again, the cloth soft goods preventing it from going further. They go forward about that much. Back, not much at all. Thigh rotation right there, pretty nice. Double jointed knees. His boot can move, but I don't think it's actual articulation. It's just a soft goods boot on top. And then his ankles forward and back. Rotate, tilt, rock. Here's Batman standing on a rooftop of Soviet Russia. Now let's check him out. Next to some other action figures, starting off with some other Russian DC figures that I have. Here he is, next to McFarlane's DC Multiverse Red Sun Superman. Unfortunately, they don't really scale up next to each other. Batman at 6-inch scale, Superman at 7-inch scale, but it's cool to have them both. DC Direct did make a Red Sun Batman figure. I don't have that one open. I have it in my unopened collection, but another potential Russian DC figure out there. Here he is, next to the KG Beast, the epitome of a Russian Batman villain. We have a custom version on the left. Next to Batman, the Mezco 112 version. And on the far right, the Mattel DC Multiverse version. Then, next to a custom NVK Demon, another Russian Batman villain. And now, next to the DC Direct, Abramovich twins from Arkham City, Mr. Hammer and Mr. Sickle. I love these guys. Now let's check him out, next to a few other third-party unauthorized Batman figures. Here he is, next to a Noir Toys Gotham by Gaslight Batman. Really not fond of this figure. And here he is, next to a Fan Super XC Suit Arkham Origins Batman. Then, next to an Extreme Toys Arkham Knight Batman. Now I wanted to check him out, next to some Mezco 112 collective figures, since it's sort of the scale and style that he's going for. Here he is, next to several Mezco Batman figures. And here, next to several different Mezco Batman villains. Then, with several more Mezco sort of regular looking figures. Now let's check him out, next to some action figures from different various companies, so we can see how he fits in, both scale and style-wise. In case you know which lines you can mix him with. Since he's a 6-inch scale third-party figure, I'm going to start off my comparisons with some of the smaller action figure lines I collect. and work my way larger. And I'm going to include as many Batman figures as I can during these comparisons. Here he is, next to some Jazzwares Fortnite figures, and SH Figure Arts Batman figures. And now, with some Hasbro Marvel Legends and Mafex Batman figures, here's Batman, next to a bottle of pet stain and odor remover. And here he is, next to some Mattel and Mezco Batman figures. Then, with both some Jazzwares and Mattel wrestling figures. And now, with some NECA and DC Direct Batman figures. Next, with some Diamond Select Toys and Jakks Pacific wrestling figures. And finally, with some McFarlane DC Multiverse Batman figures. So overall, it's a really nice Red Sun Batman figure. Here are my complaints. Number one, I wish he was a little bit taller, but he's not as short as I feared he might be. Of course, I wish he was McFarlane DC Multiverse size, but I'm not going to hold that against him, because that was never going to be a thing. He is maybe a tiny bit shorter than Mezco figures, and I wish he was at least fully in scale with them, but he is 6.5 inches tall. At least he's not 6 inches tall, because then he would be a little shrimp, and I would be very disappointed. His clothing is a little bit baggy and loose at certain parts, like around the knees and legs, and it really restricts the articulation. My biggest complaint is going to be his hands. I have a really hard time getting him to stick into the pegs properly. Like I said, maybe it's just something I'm not doing right, but it's pretty simple to swap the hands out. They're just not fully getting in there. Like I said, maybe I can try a little harder and get him to fully attach, and I won't be as annoyed with it, but bam, those things are popping off left and right. Now beyond that, figure is excellent. The cloth looks pretty good, like I said, a little baggy. The accessories are fantastic, although I don't know why he didn't come with fists. The cape is great. I love the head sculpt, the cowl. If I were to rate this guy, I want to say 6 out of 10, but honestly I think he deserves more than that. 7? Maybe not quite. I think he is worth a 7, but there's some things that annoy me, so I'm going to give him a 6.5. Solid release, he looks good, and I'm happy to add him to the collection. So this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked the video, press like below. If you have anything you want to say about the video, add it in the comment section. If you want to see additional action figure reviews from me, press subscribe. I do appreciate when you do that. Once again, this is D Hunter. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll talk to you real soon.